You know what's really funny about humans? Captain Zrk't asked in amusement as he stared at the distant blue-green planet on the view screen. Lieutenant Volspar looked up from her console compound eyes reflecting the glow of tactical displays. Their pathetic weaponry. Their fragile exoskeletons, the fact that they think putting cheese on everything is the pinnacle of culinary achievement. No, no. Zer waved a chitinous appendage dismissively. It's that they're still convinced they're alone in the universe. Can you imagine thousands of species have observed them, hundreds have abducted their rural populations for entirely reasonable scientific probing, and at least 24 invasion forces have attempted planetary conquest, yet somehow they still debate whether alien life exists. Actually, sir, the ship's intelligence officer Zrk't interjected. That may be incorrect. Zrk't's antenna twitched in annoyance. What do you mean incorrect? I've read the briefing materials. Well, sir. Zrk't's continued mandibles nervously clicking as he brought up a holographic display. There's something odd about this planet. Did you notice that none of those previous invasion forces ever returned? Not 0% success rate. The bridge fell. Silent save for the gentle hum of the quantum engines. That can't be right. Captain Zrk't stammered, suddenly less confident. Check your data. The Borxians are the galaxy's premier conquest specialists, and they sent 3 armadas to Earth in the last century alone. Yes, sir, and none of them were ever heard from again. Abui. Zorgalak's empire dispatched their dreadnought fleet, also vanished. The Krillian horde, same outcome. Sir Zrk't's exoskeleton pad, slightly. Well, surely we have reconnaissance data that explains this. The humans have barely achieved rudimentary space travel. Their most advanced weapons are practically sticks and stones compared to our quantum disruptors. That's what makes it so puzzling. Sir Drax said, bringing up surveillance footage. By all accounts, they shouldn't pose any threat whatsoever. Yet somehow, Earth has a 100% fatality rate for would-be conquerors. Lieutenant Volspar suddenly looked less enthusiastic about their mission. Perhaps we should reconsider, Captain. The High Command did classify this as a simple subjugation mission, but these statistics suggest nonsense. Captain Zur interrupted, mandibles clacking decisively. We are the Extractly Armada. Our species has conquered 17 galaxies. I refuse to be intimidated by soft-skinned mammals who still think fossil fuels are a good idea. We will proceed as planned. Begin the invasion countdown. As the crew reluctantly prepared for planetary assault, none of them noticed the small alert blinking on a secondary monitor, a transmission being beamed directly from Earth. Dave Miller took another sip of his lukewarm coffee and stared at the antiquated radar system that was supposedly monitoring Earth's outer atmosphere. Working the night shift at STI's least-funded listening station wasn't exactly the career highlight he'd imagined when getting his PhD in astrophysics, but at least the view of the stars was nice. Anything interesting tonight? Dr. Miller asked technician Kolea, fresh-faced kid barely out of college who still possessed that annoying quality, called enthusiasm, same as every night. Cole, whole lot of nothing with a side of jack squat. Dave gestured vaguely at the monitors, though I am picking up a weird signal from Sector 47. Probably just satellite interference again. Cole leaned over to look at the screen, his brow furrowing. That doesn't look like satellite interference to me, sir. The pattern is too structured. Dav reluctantly put down his coffee and actually focused on the readings. The anomaly had a distinct rhythmic pattern that was decidedly non-random. That's unusual. As they watched, the anomaly grew larger, seeming to move closer to Earth at an impossible speed. Sir, Cole said slowly, I think something's coming. Dave was about to make a sarcastic comment when every monitor in the facility suddenly lit up with alerts. The phone rang, and when Dave answered, the voice of General Hammond boomed through the speaker. Miller, are you seeing this? If by this you mean potentially the most significant astronomical event in human history, then yes, sir, we are indeed seeing it. Cut the sarcasm. Miller, I'm patching in the Secretary of Defense. Whatever that thing is. It's big, it's fast, and it's headed straight for us. Dave looked back at the screens, a strange mix of scientific excitement and primal fear washing over him. Well, he muttered, looks like someone's finally coming to the party. Aboard the Zrk't warship, inevitable conquest Captain Xer was beginning to wonder if his career advancement was worth potential annihilation. Cloaking systems, air malfunctioning, sir, cried the tactical officer. Earth detection systems have somehow locked onto us. Impossible, Zrk't hissed. Their technology is primitive. Dthrax looked up from his console with grave concern. Sir, I've been analyzing their communications. It appears the humans have been expecting us. What do you mean, expecting us? They're not supposed to even know we exist. Well, sir, they seem to have a dedicated organization for detecting extraterrestrial intelligence, and they've just gone to something they call Condition Alpha, which appears to be their protocol for alien invasion. Vlar's mandibles trembled slightly. Captain, we're being hailed by the humans. On screen, Zrk't ordered, trying to maintain his authoritative posture. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced human in a military uniform, adorned with various insignia that meant nothing to the aliens. This is General William Hammond of Earth's United Defense Command. Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves and state your intentions. Immediately, Captain Zrk't was momentarily stunned into silence. Earth wasn't supposed to have a United Defense Command. Their intelligence suggested the planet was still divided into squabbling nation-states. Regaining his composure, Zrk't stepped forward. I am Captain Xer of the Xralian Armada. We have come to claim your world for the glory of the Xralian Empire. Surrender now, and your species will be permitted to serve as labor drones rather than facing extinction. The human general's expression didn't change. If anything, he looked almost bored. Captain Zrk't, was it? Let me be clear. You are not the first to try this, and I suspect you won't be the last. But I should warn you, none of your predecessors have returned. Home Zrk't felt his confidence wavering, but pressed on. Your primitive weapons are no match for our technology. We have studied your world extensively. At this, the general actually smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Have you? Now then, I wonder why you're still here. Computer initiate protocol Omega. The screen went black, leaving the alien bridge crew staring at each other in confusion. What just happened? Demanded Zrk't. Suddenly, alarms blared across the ship. The tactical officer's voice rose to a panicked screech. Captain, multiple projectiles launching from Earth's surface. Engage defensive shields, Zrk't ordered. Shields not responding. Sir, our systems are being overridden by some kind of Sir. I don't understand this. It appears to be a meme. A what? A cultural information packet designed to... The explanation was cut short as the ship shuddered violently. Vulpar looked up in horror. Sir, the projectiles aren't conventional weapons. They're boarding vessels. Dave Miller was having the time of his life after years of being the butt of jokes in the scientific community for his paranoid theories about alien invasion protocols. He was finally vindicated. I told them, he exclaimed to Cole as they hurried down the corridor of the hastily revealed underground complex that had apparently existed beneath the STI station all along. I told everyone we needed to be prepared. Less gloating, more running, Dr. Miller. Cole replied, surprisingly, composed for someone who had just discovered that aliens were real and currently attacking Earth. They burst into a massive control room that looked nothing like the outdated facility above. This place was cutting-edge staffed by dozens of personnel in sleek uniforms bearing a patch Dave had never seen before. A stylized globe with the letters UDC General Hammond stood at the center, barking orders, launch squads Alpha through Echo. I want those bugs contained before they figure out what's happening. He noticed Dave and Cole and waved them over Miller. Good. You're here. We're going to need that big brain of yours. General, with all due respect, What the hell is going on? Since when does SETI have a paramilitary wing? Hammond gave him appetying look, SETI-son. That's just the cover story. We've known about aliens for decades. The real question is why they keep thinking we're defenseless. But how? Why wasn't I informed need-to-know basis? And until 10 minutes ago, you didn't. Need-to-know Hammond pointed to a holographic display showing what appeared to be the alien ship. What I need now is for you to help us understand their technology before they regroup. Dave stared at the display in awe. This changes everything. We know about Focus Miller existential crisis later. Alien tech now. Dave shook himself and nodded. Right? Yes. What do we know so far? Hammond gestured to another scientist who brought up detailed schematics. They're insectoid silicon-based life forms. Their ship runs on what appears to be quantum entanglement drive advanced stuff, but not invincible. We've already deployed our tech disruptor squads. Tech disruptors, special forces with one job, getting onto alien ships and making things go boom. Captain Zur was rapidly losing control of both his ship and his dignity. What do you mean humans on board? How did they breach our hull? Has screeched unknown, sir, replied the increasingly frantic tactical officer. They just appeared inside our cargo bay. They're carrying devices we can't identify and our sensors are going haywire. Zrk't was frantically analyzing data streams. Sir, I think I understand now why no one returns from Earth missions. These humans, they're not primitive at all. They've been staging all this time, staging. Staging what? Their technological development. All our intelligence is based on their public information and observable infrastructure, but they have a completely separate hidden technological base. It's centuries beyond what they show before Zrk't could process this alarming information. The bridge doors slid open. Several humans in sleek black armor stepped in, weapons raised. Their helmets concealed their faces, but their posture conveyed absolute confidence. On stepped forward. Captain X, sir. I'm Commander Alex Foster. Your ship is now under Earth control. Your crew has two options, surrender or, well, actually, there's just the one option. Zrkt's natural instinct was to fight, but the utter calm of these humans gave him pause. How did you get past our defenses? How did you even know we were coming? Commander Foster's helmet retracted, revealing a human with a close-cropped beard and an almost bored expression. You guys might want to consider using better encryption. We've been listening to your invasion plans for months. But our encryption is based on quantum algorithms that would take millennia to crack. Foster shrugged. Took our AI about 20 minutes, actually. Look, not to be rude, but you're the fourth invasion attempt this year, and it's getting a little tedious. At least the Borxians put up a decent fight. Zrkt's antenna drooped in shock. You defeated the Borxians, defeated. Recruited, same difference. Some of them work in our R&D department now. Very creative with bow weapons. The bridge fell silent as the full implications sank in. Zrk't was the first to recover. Sir, he said quietly to Zer. I believe surrender is our only viable option. Yinzer looked around at his terrified crew, then back at the casual confidence of the human. Forces with a defeated slump of his exoskeleton, he nodded. We surrender, Commander Foster smiled. Excellent choice. General Hammond will be pleased. He tapped a communication device on his wrist. Foster to Hammond. Package secured, bringing home some new friends. 3 days later, Dave Miller found himself in the strangest meeting of his career, seated around an underground conference table where General Hammond, Commander Foster, several high-ranking military and scientific personnel, and most surreally, Captain Zur and Zrk't representing the now-captured alien invasion force. So let me get this straight, Dave said, trying to wrap his head around what he was hearing. Earth has been successfully defending itself against alien invasions for decades. And the reason aliens keep trying anyway is that we're deliberately projecting an image of technological backwardness. Precisely. Hammond nodded, Operation Sitting Duck. We maintain the appearance of a divided primitive planet while secretly building our unified defense capabilities using technology we've acquired from previous attempts. But why keep it secret from your own population? Asked Drax, who seemed genuinely curious rather than resentful of his captivity. Hammond exchanged glances with his colleagues. Have you seen how humans react to change? The panic. The conspiracy theories. Imagine the global chaos. If we announced, hey, everyone, aliens are real, they keep trying to conquer us, but don't worry, we've got super advanced tech we stole from them. Dave couldn't argue with that logic. So what happens now with them? He gestured toward the aliens. Same as always, Hammond replied. We offer them a choice. They can join our scientific exchange program. You mean become research subjects? Zrk't interjected bitterly. Or Hammond continued with emphasis. They can become diplomatic representatives to help prevent future misunderstandings. Commander Foster leaned forward. Look, Captain, your empire thinks Earth is easy pickings because we deliberately make it look that way. It's a defensive strategy that's worked pretty well so far. But we're not monsters. We don't want an endless cycle of attempted invasions and captures. Dothrax's compound eyes seemed to brighten with understanding. So you want us to bring back accurate intelligence about Earth's true capabilities, Bingo Hammond said, with a finger gun gesture that clearly confused the aliens. Though bring back might be optimistic, your superiors would probably execute you for failure or lying. Instead, we propose you stay here as official representatives of the Exercion Empire comfortable accommodations, full access to our scientific exchange data, and the opportunity to establish proper diplomatic relations. Zrkt's mandibles worked silently as he processed the offer. And if we refuse? Hammond's expression hardened slightly. Then you'll be comfortable but restricted guests until we determine you're no longer a security risk, which given your lifespan could be quite some time. Dave watched this negotiation with fascination. General, if I may, how many alien species have actually taken you up on the diplomatic option? 37 and counting. Hammond replied, some of our most valuable allies started as would-be conquerors. The Arcturan delegation was literally halfway through vaporizing Melbourne when they realized we'd hacked their ships. Now they run our interstellar communication network. Dothrax turned to Zrk't. Captain, I believe accepting their diplomatic proposal is not only our best option for survival, but potentially beneficial for the Empire. Their technological capabilities clearly exceed our intelligence estimates. Zrk't's antenna twitched in what Dave was beginning to recognize as their equivalent of a sigh. Very well, we accept your diplomatic proposal, General Hammond. Though I fail to understand why you maintain this charade of technological inferiority if it continues to invite attacks. Dave surprised himself by answering before Hammond could. It's a filtering system, isn't it? General, any species advanced enough to see through the deception is advanced enough to be worth talking to. Hammond smiled. Got it in 1 Miller Plus, it gives us the advantage of surprise every single time. Speaking of which, he turned back to the aliens. I'd be very interested in hearing exactly how your quantum entanglement drive works. Our engineers have some theories, but a first-hand explanation would be helpful. 6 months later, David settled into his new role as scientific liaison to the Alien Diplomatic Corps with surprising ease. His office in the underground complex now, revealed to him as Terran Defense Headquarters, had a direct view into what was affectionately called the Alien Alley, where representatives from various formerly hostile species now worked alongside humans. Zrk't entered his office. Without knocking a habit the insectoid alien had never quite grasped, Dr. Miller. We have received a transmission from the Empire. He announced, his formerly intimidating demeanor now somehow almost comical in the context of the Earth-issue lab coat he wore. Let me guess they're sending another ship to find out what happened to you precisely. A dreadnought-class vessel according to our intelligence. Dave sighed and reached for his communication panel. I'll alert Hammond Standard. Welcome package, I would recommend it. The commander is my former squadron leader. She will not be easily convinced of Earth's capabilities without a demonstration. Dave couldn't help but smile as he put through the call. You know, 6 months ago I was sitting in a rundown SETI station convinced I was wasting my life. Now I'm helping coordinate alien diplomatic relations. Zrk't's mandibles clicked in what Dave had learned was their version of laughter, and 6 months ago, I was certain I would return. To the Empire in glory with a conquered planet. As Mitrophy life is as you humans say. Funny that way, General Hammond's voice came through the speaker. Miller, what's the situation? Another exertion ship incoming, Sir Zrk't, confirms it's a dreadnought wonderful. Hammond replied with the weary tone of someone discussing a minor inconvenience rather than an alien warship. I'll alert the welcome committee. Foster's team has been itching for some field exercise. Anyway, after ending the call, Dave turned back to Zrk't. You know, at some point word is going to get around that Earth isn't the easy target everyone thinks it is. Perhaps Zrk't replied thoughtfully, but the galaxy is vast and conquerors are seldom good listeners. There will always be some ambitious captain or glory-seeking admiral who believes they will succeed where others failed. Well, job security for all of us? I guess. Dave stood and grabbed his jacket. Come on. We should get to the command center. I want to see Foster's team in action. This time. As they walked through the busy corridors of the facility, Dave marveled at how quickly humans had adapted to working alongside aliens. Scientists of both species collaborated on projects. Security personnel exchanged training techniques, and in the missile chefs were genuinely attempting to create cuisine suitable for insectoid digestive systems. You know what's really funny about aliens? Dave asked, echoing Zrk't's question from their first encounter. Zrk't's antenna twitched in curiosity. What you all think? Conquest is the only way to advance. But look around. We've gained more technology, knowledge, and resources through these forced diplomatic relations than we ever would have through fighting. A uniquely human perspective Zrkt had. Observed most species would simply destroy potential threats. Yeah, well, turns out humans are pretty good at making friends with former enemies. It's kind of learn more about a species from how they wage war than from how they negotiate peace. Zrkt clicked in agreement. A surprisingly insightful approach, General, though I suspect my people would prefer a less humiliating introduction. Next time, tell them to try saying hello first, Hammond replied with a grin. On the screen, the boarding operation was proceeding with textbook efficiency. Commander Foster's team had already secured the engine room and was working their way to the bridge. Sir, one of the communications officers called out, we're receiving a transmission from Commander Foster. En crine, Hammond ordered. Foster's helmeted face appeared looking remarkably calm for someone in the middle of boarding an alien warship. General, we've secured primary systems. Admiral Vikatraz is, let's say, surprised by our welcome. She's requested to speak with whoever's in charge. Hammond straightened his uniform. Put her through. The screen split to show a female Zrk't, her exoskeleton a darker shade than Zrk't, and adorned with what appeared to be military insignia. Her compound eyes widened at the sight of Zrkt standing comfortably alongside the humans. Captain Zrk't, you're alive. Her mandibles clicked rapidly in what Dave now recognized as agitation. What is the meaning of this? Our intelligence indicated the humans were primitive. How have they overtaken our vessels? Zrkt stepped forward. Admiral the Furai recommend immediate surrender and acceptance of the humans' diplomatic proposal. Their technological capabilities far exceed our intelligence reports. They have been selectively broadcasting their development status. You mean they've been deceiving the galaxy? The Admiral hissed. Dave couldn't help himself. Says the invasion force that didn't exactly announce their arrival with a formal introduction. Hammond shot him a look that clearly said not helping before addressing. The Admiral Vikatraz, your ship is currently under our control. Your weapons, propulsion, and communication systems have been neutralized. We offer you the same choice. We offered Captain Zrk't. Join our diplomatic corps and establish formal relations between Earth and the Xerlian Empire, or remain as our guests indefinitely. This is outrageous. The Empire will not stand for this deception, Zrk't interjected. Admiral, I have been studying human history during my time here. They have a consistent pattern of appearing weaker than they are. It's a deliberate strategy, and they have been surprisingly accommodating to those who accept their terms. Dave watched the Admiral's compound eyes dart between Zrk't Hammond and the human soldiers, visible behind Commander Foster. He could almost see the calculations happening behind those alien features, weighing pride against practicality, duty against survival. Finally, her antenna drooped. Slightly. I will consider your diplomatic proposal, General Hammond, but the Empire will send others when we fail to report back. We're counting on it, Hammond replied with a smile. Each new delegation improves our interspecies relations department. Commander Foster, please escort the Admiral and her senior staff to our diplomatic reception area. The rest of the crew can remain aboard under supervision for now. As the transmission ended, Dave turned to Hammond. You know, from their perspective, we must seem like the most devious species. In the galaxy, Hammond chuckled. All part of the Earth. Mystique. Miller. Let the galaxy think we're either primitive or duplicitous. Either way, they'll approach with caution. He clapped a hand on Zrkt's chitinous shoulder. No offense, Captain. None taken. General, I am beginning to appreciate the elegant simplicity of your strategy. It is very human. Dave couldn't tell if that was a compliment or not, but given how comfortably Zrk't had settled into Earth society over the past months, he suspected the alien was developing a genuine appreciation for human ingenuity. 1 year after the initial contact, Earth's Department of Interstellar Relations, formerly the Alien Containment and Processing Division, held its first formal diplomatic reception. Representatives from 17 formerly hostile species mingled in a large underground hall that had been carefully designed to accommodate various atmospheric needs, gravity preferences, and biological requirements. Dave, now sporting the title Director of Xenoscientific Cooperation, stood with Zrk't near a refreshment table that offered everything from standard Earth canopies to synthesized methane bubbles for the gaseous Neptunian delegates. Hard to believe this all started with you trying to conquer us, Dave remarked, sipping what passed for champagne in this security-conscious environment. A fortunate failure. Zrk't replied, mandibles working around a cricket-based hors d'oeuvre that the human chefs had created specifically for insectoid diplomats. The Empire has gained more through this reluctant alliance than we would have through conquest. General Hammond approached, looking uncomfortable in his dress uniform. Gentlemen, quite the gathering, isn't it? The Galactic Council has finally agreed to formal recognition of Earth as a non-primitive world. Only took 17 thwarted invasions and a minor interstellar diplomatic crisis. Dave noted dryly, Rome wasn't built in a day. Miller Hammond surveyed the room with obvious pride. Besides, we've advanced our technology by at least 2 centuries thanks to our new friends, not bad for a species that still argues about whether climate change is real. Admiral VKR joined their small group, her formerly imposing presence now somehow integrated into the strange diplomatic tableau. General Hammond, Dr. Miller, I bring news from the Empire. Our High Command has finally agreed to a non-aggression treaty. Wonderful, Hammond exclaimed with genuine pleasure. That makes the Exercians our 9th formal treaty partner. At this rate, we'll have peaceful relations with half the galaxy within a decade, provided no one else tries to invade in the meantime. Dave added, as if on cue. A young lieutenant hurried over General Hammond. Sir, our deep space monitoring network has detected an unidentified fleet approaching the solar system. Configuration doesn't match any known species in our database. Hammond sighed and set down his drink. Duty calls Miller. You and Zrk't want to join the welcome committee? Might be useful to have our xeno-diplomacy team on hand if these are first-timers. Dave exchanged glances with Zrk't, who clicked his mandibles in what had become. Their private signal for here. We go again. Wouldn't miss it, General Dave replied to VKR. He added, Please enjoy the reception, Admiral. We just need to go welcome some new potential diplomats to Earth." As they walked briskly toward the command center, Zrk't commented, "You know, Dr. Miller, on my world there is an ancient saying, 'The most dangerous prey is the one that appears most vulnerable.' On Earth we say, 'Don't judge a book by its cover,'" Dave replied, "though in our case, we deliberately made the cover look really boring while hiding laser weapons between the pages." Hammond chuckled ahead of them. "I prefer speak softly and carry a big stick, though we've modified it to broadcast reality TV and maintain a planet-wide defense system." As they entered the command center, the screen showed a formation of crystalline ships, unlike anything in Earth's now extensive alien database. "New players," Hammond murmured. "This should be interesting." "Standard." "Welcome package, sir?" asked the tactical officer. Hammond considered for a moment, then smiled. "Let's try something different this time. Open a channel when they're in range. Maybe just this once we can start with hello instead of waiting for them to shoot first." Dave looked at the approaching alien fleet and then around at the command center, where humans worked alongside former would-be conquerors in perfect cooperation. "You know what's really funny about humans?" he asked, echoing the question that had started it all. Zr's antenna twitched in curiosity. "What we spent centuries worrying that first contact with aliens would destroy our civilization," Dave said, gesturing at the diverse species now working together. "Turns out it might be the thing that finally unites it." Hammond nodded thoughtfully. "Humanity united against external threats, tale as old as time." "Humanity?" "Yeah," Dave muttered under his breath. "What was that?" Miller Hammond asked. "Nothing, sir. Just appreciating the irony." As the communication officer prepared to hail the incoming ships, Dave couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of it all. Earth, the planet everyone tried to conquer and no one succeeded. The world that looked primitive, but harbored advanced technology. The species that turned would-be conquerors into reluctant allies through a combination of strategic deception and unexpected diplomacy. Perhaps that was humanity's true superpower. Not the hidden technology or the unified defense strategy, but the peculiar ability to make friends out of enemies. To find common ground with the most alien of intelligences, not through overwhelming force, but through a uniquely human blend of ingenuity, adaptability, and that strange quality that even Zr had come to appreciate. Pragmatic optimism. "Incoming vessels, this is Earth Central Command," Hammond began, as the new alien fleet came into communications range. "Welcome to the Sol System. We've been expecting you, because if there was one thing the galaxy was slowly learning, it was this: attacking Earth was always a mistake, not because humans would destroy you, but because they'd probably end up converting you to their cause, making you like them, and sending you back out into the stars as unwitting ambassadors of the strangest, most contradictory, most frustratingly effective species in the known universe, humanity." "Yeah, indeed, the end."